Good day, Mountain View. Today's Veterans Day, and we would like to welcome some special veterans with us. First of all, we'd like to welcome Major Meadow Medalevich. She's part of the U.S. Army. We'd also like to recognize District 14 Commander Bill Harmer, the VFW Post 8488 Commander Mark Webster, and the other members of that post and also their auxiliary who are visiting us today. At this time, the color guard of the VFW Post 8488 will post the colors.
We invite you all now to stand for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, my name is James Dollar. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I served from 1990 to 2016. Well, Veterans Day originally came out of World War I. America had lost 116,000 men in that conflict. This is war on a scale that had not been seen by the rest of the world ever. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the armistice was signed that ended hostilities in Europe. A year later, on the anniversary, President Woodrow Wilson declared that there would be Armistice Day, and that we would remember the sacrifices of the men that served and their bravery and appreciate the victory. This was done with parades and ceremonies, and there was a 2-minute cessation of business at 11 a.m. In 1926, the Congress decided that they would make a formal declaration. It was not just a celebration of the soldiers that served in World War I, it was a celebration of peace, and it was actually a peace holiday. Of course, it was a little early because in 1939, World War II began. And in 1954, President Eisenhower, in order to recognize the service of all those who served in World War II and Korea, changed it to Veterans Day. The last addition to it was in 2016, President Obama signed a Veterans Day moment of silence, so that at 3:11 in the afternoon, there's supposed to be a 2-minute of silence recognized by the United States people. Here in America, we are blessed with prosperity and freedom but what we are often short of is gratitude. It's an opportunity to reach out and thank those people who guaranteed those safeties, that prosperity, and freedoms.
There are more than 21 million veterans in the United States. They are the men and women who have served on active duty in any branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, in peacetime or war. More than 2 million are women. Veterans represent about 6.5% of the total U.S. population. Around 1% of American women and around 12% of American men are veterans. 16.1 million living U.S. veterans served during at least one war, while 5.2 million served during peacetime. Of the 16 million Americans who served in World War II, about 620,000 are still alive. From the Revolutionary War to the Global War on Terror, U.S. veterans have served in 12 major wars and numerous smaller military conflicts, from fighting Barbary pirates to peacekeeping in the former Yugoslavia, to hunting down Osama bin Laden. And our veterans' role in U.S. history goes far beyond the battlefield. 26 of 44 presidents have been veterans. The Revolutionary War produced 4 U.S. presidents, while no fewer than 7 presidents were veterans of the Civil War. 97 members of the current U.S. Congress served or are currently serving in the military, including 81 members of the House of Representatives and 16 senators. 1/3 of all Supreme Court justices throughout history have served in the military, with the majority of those serving in times of war. And of the 330 current and former astronauts in the U.S. space program, 219 served in the armed forces. During peacetime, our military forces have provided humanitarian aid and disaster relief to areas in need at home and abroad. During Hurricane Katrina, for example, nearly 70,000 troops, active duty, reserve, and National Guard, were involved in what is said to be the largest relief effort in U.S. history. These are just a few of the many contributions we can thank our veterans for, from our nation's beginnings until today.
USS Enterprise had proven her steel at the Battle of Midway. But the Big E is about to face her greatest challenge yet: invasion at a place called Guadalcanal.
Now we're going to have a reading of the poem, I Am the Flag, by Vivian Sedlak.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I stand guard majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am loved and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and the Persian Gulf, and a score of places long forgotten by all but those who were there with me. I was there. I led my soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I followed them and watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill in Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my Marines and sailors cheered me, and I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it is by those I have served in battle with, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I have been silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hour comes when I am torn in strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle, when I fly at half-mast to honor my soldiers, my airmen, my sailors, my Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter. I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave.
Thank you, Vivian. And now we will have the members of Post 8488 perform folding of the flag. It's being led by Commander Mark Webster.
Good morning. We, the members of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, were asked to demonstrate the proper folding of our national flag. Today, folding the flag, we have a guest, several guests, but William Harmer is the District 14 Commander, and the District 14 Senior Vice Commander is Phil Price, and helping them is our Quartermaster, John Brady, and our Chairman for Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen, Auxiliary Member Deborah Schultz. There are 13 folds to the flag when properly doing the exercise. And now we'll start with the first fold. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold signifies our belief in eternal life.
3.
The third fold is made in honor and tribute of the veteran departing our ranks who gave a portion of his or her life for the defense of our country to attain peace.
4.
The fourth fold exemplifies our weaker nature as citizens trusting in God. It is to Him we turn for His divine guidance.
5.
The fifth fold is an acknowledgement to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country dealing with our other countries, may she always be right, but still our country right or wrong.
6.
The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
7.
The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it's through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all enemies.
8.
The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day, and to honor our mother for whom it flies on Mother's Day.
9.
The ninth fold is an honor to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of men and women who have made this country great have been molded.
10.
The 10th fold is a tribute to Father, for he too has given his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since he or she was first born.
11.
The 11th fold in the eyes of the Hebrew citizens represents the tower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
12.
The 12th fold in the eyes of the Christian citizen represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in their eyes God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
13.
The last fold, when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." And this was our presentation for the proper way to fold our national flag. Thank you very much.
Each year, the VFW sponsors a youth essay competition, and it's nationwide. The winners of each post, there are 4 levels. It goes, first of all, it goes to our local post, which is ours, the Elk Mountain post number 8488. The winners then would move on to the district, and our district level is District 14. If they win there, they go on to the state level, and the winner from the state goes on to the national competition. Now, there is a monetary award given each year for anyone who wins at each of these levels. For the Patriots pen, which includes students in grades 6 through 8, the top national award is $5,000. For the students in grades 9 through 12, theirs is called the Voice of Democracy. And their top prize is a scholarship for $30,000. So next fall, when your history teacher starts speaking to you about writing something for these essays, try it. Get involved. You might be one of these winners. We're going to listen now to the speeches. They actually are the winners for this year's competition from the VFW. Our first reader is Hudson Bain, and he's written something for the Patriots pen. Hudson?
There are many things that make a good American. Doing your civic duty for your country includes things like voting on election day, serving your country, and standing up for American values. But to me, a good American is much more than that. It is working to overcome challenges to make America better for all. A 60-year-old quote by John F. Kennedy symbolizes my idea of how to be a good American. He said, "What unites us is far greater than what divides us." And each of us doing our part to overcome the challenges we face. Since our nation was born in 1776, we have faced these challenges and have always come out stronger. From fighting for independence, to civil war and world wars, to the Great Depression, and now a global pandemic. To this day, America stands as a proud symbol of freedom, and to the rest of the world. Why? Because Americans have always worked to overcome the many obstacles that stand in the way of success and focused on what unites us. This nation has always been able to conquer our challenges through hard work and perseverance. But how do we do this? Well, it is easy to complain about the things that divide us. A good American works towards the things that unite us. In his Man in the Arena speech, Theodore Roosevelt reminded us that it is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. A good American is one that steps up, steps in, and fights for what is right. By putting aside individual differences, a good American is someone who doesn't take a step back when faced with a challenge. They step up and make their own responsibility to help move our country forward. To be a good American, we should all focus on what unites us, things like freedom, democracy, and patriotism. In conclusion, being a good American is more than doing just the ordinary deeds for your country. These things are very important for Americans to do, but to me, a good American takes it a step farther, and is one who shows the pride, respect, and admiration for their country by doing their part, as Teddy Roosevelt would have had it, by being in the arena.
Thank you, Hudson. And now we will hear from Alexis Kozlowski. Her writing is for the Voice of Democracy. And her theme is, America, where do we go from here? Alexis?
America, where do we go from here? A question that continues to arise throughout our years. Every human born with a hunger to improve anything in their power that they are able. From the moment a child learns to walk, they already have the ambition to run faster. Then they fall. Without any discouragement, they plan to do it again. Only this time, they plan to do it better. As random as this example may sound, it proves the point of human nature. Everyone is born with the ambition to make things better. Even when we fail the first time, we still want it and we still find a new way to obtain it. This is our leverage. How we wield it is the most important part. It's true, the world we live in will never be perfect, but it can be changed little by little to better fit our ever-evolving country. America, where do we go from here? There are many paths we can take to our future. The hardest part is choosing the right one, but the easy part is where we start. We start now, with us, the present. It starts with those who see the world from different perspectives. Our country is only as good as our least successful citizen. There are those who choose to listen but never share, and believe that their opinions and ideas mean nothing due to those who share but never listen. But then there are those who listen and share, compromising your ideas to another's to find a better solution to the problem at hand. The world and its people change every day, but we need to be willing to accept that change. We must alter our usage of ambition and freedom of speech for the better. If humans are ambitious enough to run before they barely know to walk, why should finding a solution to others' problems and needs be any different as opposed to our own? Another trait of human nature is fear. We fear the power of change and difference because naturally humans fear the unknown and we're reluctant to venture into it without knowing what it can bring about. While some people shout out their opinions to the world, others shy away and resist it because they're afraid of the impact it will have on their ever-static lives. It is difficult for us to break out of our shells, our protection made up of what we grow up believing, to trust another, but it is the bravery we need if we want to improve the world around us. When a newly born child takes that first step, they do not know for certain what will happen until they fall. But the key here is they ignore those fears to achieve their ultimate goal. They learn from their first mistake and try again, feeding on that ambition to accomplish those first few steps. We must use our persistence for change and open-mindedness instead of shielding ourselves with our fixated ideas and beliefs. The child learns, changes, then moves forward. If a child is able to overcome their fears and take that first step into uncertainty, we certainly can too. Only our first step is setting away our pride. We learn from others as well as our own mistakes, so let us use that skill we are born with to come together as a whole and find solutions for the problems others share, despite the fear of ever knowing if it is the first step. Where does America go from here? Forward. We go forward into the future, forward into learning from the past, forward to paving a new road, forward with open ears and open eyes, forward, never still, never back, and it starts now, with us, the people who break out of their confined shells, the people willing to come together to listen and share, the brave ones who are not afraid to venture into the unknown, the people that when they fall, rise again, anyone who is born with the ambition for improvement. These are the ones to improve our country with every moment that passes. We are what will take us forward from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. Now, Commander Webster and Voice of Democracy Chairperson Deb Schultz will present their awards.
I would just like to make one more mention that Mrs. Price, she did a wonderful job in explaining Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen. But by participating and especially winning, these look good on applications for college and for scholarships. So also keep that in mind. Our winner of the Voice of Democracy, Alexis Kozlowski. The Post Award is $300. Our Patriots Pen winner is Hudson Bain, and his award is also $300 from Elk Mountain VFW Post. The participants who did not win, and believe me, there are no losers, will also be getting a certificate of participation. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, go.
we'd like to hear a little bit about being a veteran from Major Meadow Reader. She's a graduate of Mountain View.
Should have let me go before the flag. Okay, so that's why I'm gonna sit over here actually. So I'm just gonna talk to you about what being a veteran means to me. But I'm a fast talker, and I talk even faster when my heart is racing. And it's hard, very hard for me to watch a flag being folded. And so I'll tell you why, so you can truly understand why it's worth being a veteran to me. Before I met my wonderful husband, I was engaged. He was my friend at the time. We were going to commission together. But before commissioning, a couple months before, he decided he wanted to become enlisted. He wanted to be like his grandfather and his father, so he left. There's some part of me that always blames myself for letting him leave and become enlisted, because while he was gone, we became engaged, and he was in Iraq. So on November 11th, I was here in 2004 at Mountain View. I was actually at the elementary school. And that night I got back home, and I was talking to him. I had a great time. And the next day I got a phone call that he died in Baghdad, Iraq. I experienced a great, great loss. We never forget those people that we lost. It's hard, and sometimes it randomly hits me out of nowhere. Then I call my husband and I tell him, he's very understanding. But what I gained from the loss and from my experiences is that we are never alone anywhere. On the day I found out, I didn't believe what I had heard. I thought what I had been told was, had you heard from him? And what I was being told was, had you heard about him? This was before they began shutting down communication lines out of Iraq and Afghanistan. So the news came back very quickly. So I decided to get in my car and leave. I was still actually a college student. I commissioned in an early commissioning program. And I, for some reason, thought to stop and tell my college soccer coach. So she said, wait. She hooked me up with some administration that were veterans, and they got me excused from all my classes and finals for the rest of the semester. And then as I began driving, my readiness NCO at my unit found the article online. I had actually pulled it up at the computer, because we're old, and not everybody had a computer at home, and I had left it on the computer when I walked out of the building. He called some people he knew in a unit he knew I was going to drive by, and asked them to not put soldiers on leave, but to actually just allow these soldiers to ride with me to Indiana, so I wouldn't be alone on that long drive from Pennsylvania to Indiana. So they gave me a call, and I stopped, picked the soldier, and she drove. She actually made me laugh a couple of times on the way. But she was there with me, and I wasn't alone. And then we stopped, and we picked up some friends at the airport. Most of that week is a complete blackout, but I remember certain moments. I remember the moments of them being there, and I remember the moments of being with Ray's family, and obviously the funeral was very hard. But the reason I continue to do it is because, like I said, we are never alone. Anytime I go somewhere, I can find veterans in a crowd. Oftentimes I find people that I hadn't seen in years and years. Recently there was a document that was published saying I got accepted into a course, and I got a phone call from Maine saying, congratulations, you beat me out. But then I helped that soldier get into the course. So we treat states like they're towns. I recently had a phone call. I said, I'm coming to Texas in January. Let's get together. My friend said, great. I live in San Antonio. I said, awesome. I'm flying into Austin, so what, we'll meet for lunch? It's, I think, an hour and a half, 2 hours drive between there. But that's what I say as veterans. If we can get close enough to other veterans, people we've met, it doesn't matter the distance. That's not a big deal to us. That's saying, hey, I'm driving from Mountain View School District to the Lennox Diner. The other thing is, aside from just the people that I know, and I rekindle with after years, like when I recently started working in Arlington, I found over 100 people that I had previously met in my career that I missed. I didn't know where they had gone. Now it's easier because we can look them up in a very easy email system, but in the past it wasn't that way. And then here I just randomly found them at work in the chow hall. When I walked into their office, they would be there. And I love going to work. I live for it. I get to be with my friends. I mean, I live for my family too, no offense. But love you guys. But also, I told the elementary school students, I was in a mall when I flew into Denver, Colorado, and I wanted to go to the food court. So as I walked through the mall, wearing nothing that would show that I was military. My hair wasn't in a bun, it was down. I had a random sweatshirt on, some khaki pants. And as I got on the escalator, I turned around, and I saw these two Navy veterans sitting on this wall. And when I turned around and looked at them, they stood up and they saluted me. And I saluted back. And I actually did think to myself, how did they know? And then I realized it's because it was the way that I walked compared to everybody else in that mall. Because veterans will walk standing upright, their shoulders will be up, their heads will be high, and they'll be looking around. Everybody else was looking on their phone or just talking and chatting, slumped down like you see. So they knew who I was, and I respected that. I've often had this happen, and I just invite the people to come and eat with me, and I have a great time. So I'm never alone, even when it seems like I'm alone. And I feel like that's the same for a lot, I mean, I speak for myself, but I feel like that's the same for a lot of veterans here. I don't know a lot of these guys from the VFW, but that doesn't mean I feel scared to come up and talk to them. It's very easy for me, and I'm not normally one who will just go up and talk to some people. So, if you're ever considering a career in the military, and you're thinking to yourself, why would I risk so much? What do I gain in return? What you gain is that, like I said, you are never alone. You will always be with people. There's always someone there for you. Thank you.
In conclusion, we would like to thank several people, especially our veterans who are here with us today, and Major Reader, but also, let me find my list here. Got it here. Okay. Special thank you to Mrs. Bacher, Mrs. McHenry, Mr. Stiver, Mrs. Bishop, Dr. Lem, Vivian, Hudson, and Alexis, the members of the band and chorus, and our video group. A special thank you to our veterans with us, and to our faculty and staff members, Mrs. Ayton, Mrs. Getz, and Dwight Carey, for your service. Thank you to all veterans for your service and sacrifices to our country.